Today we're diving into a hot topic, Mr. Modi's economic policies in India. Are they making the rich richer and the poor poorer, as some claim?
That's the narrative, isn't it? But the data paints a different picture, one that challenges these assumptions.
Exactly. We'll be looking at the numbers, from income inequality to poverty rates, to see what's really happening on the ground.
It's about cutting through the noise and looking at the evidence. What do the Gini coefficient and per capita income tell us?
Let's get right to it. What does the data actually say about the impact of Mr. Modi's policies on economic inequality in India?
Well, the most common measure of income inequality is the Gini coefficient. It ranges from 0, where everyone has the same income, to 1, where one person has all the income. The World Bank data shows that, if anything, income inequality in India has actually gone down during Mr. Modi's time in office.
That's surprising, given the common narrative. So the claim that the rich are getting richer at the expense of the poor doesn't seem to hold up?
Not according to the Gini coefficient. And there's another important point. Per capita income in India has increased significantly, while the Gini coefficient has either stayed the same or decreased. This suggests that all income groups have become wealthier.
So even if inequality remained constant, the overall increase in wealth means everyone is better off?
Precisely. Between 2014 and 2022, average income increased by 40%, while the Gini coefficient fell. This is hardly a picture of the poor getting poorer.
Let's switch gears to poverty.
Yeah, most of the time, measuring income is difficult because a large part of the economy is informal. On the other hand, consumption is easier to measure, and we have had a long history of measuring consumption in India through large sample surveys. And therefore, we see what is happening with consumption inequality. And this is what the data shows about consumption inequality. Over the period of the time that the BJP has ruled, the consumption inequality has gone down substantially. With respect to what it had been even in the 1980s or in the 1990s.
The article highlights Mr. Modi's campaign to end open defecation. How successful has that been?
It's been a significant success, and perhaps that's why it's not being talked about as much in the Western media. Building toilets has long-term health consequences, especially for women.
So improving sanitation infrastructure has had a positive impact on public health, particularly for women.
Absolutely. And it's not just toilets. The article also mentions the increased use of gas stoves in poor households, which reduces indoor air pollution and improves women's health.
Let's talk about infrastructure. How has investment in infrastructure changed under Mr. Modi's administration?
There's been exponential growth in capital expenditure on infrastructure, whether it's banking, electricity, airports, or the internet. This investment is a harbinger of future growth.
So increased infrastructure spending is laying the foundation for future economic development?
Exactly. It's creating jobs, improving connectivity, and attracting investment, all of which contribute to long-term economic growth.
The article includes some interesting historical perspectives on negative views about India's future. Can you elaborate on that?
It's a reminder that negative predictions about India's future are not new. The article quotes pessimistic views from the past, which turned out to be inaccurate.
So it's important to take current criticisms with a grain of salt, considering the historical context?
Precisely. It's a reminder that India has consistently defied pessimistic predictions and continued to develop and progress.
To become a developed country, it needs $18,000 per capita GDP in about 20 years. To get there, 100 years since independence would require an economic growth rate of 8 to 9% per year on the average. The current set of policies that are in place will generate per capita GDP growth of 6 to 7%. Which means that we need 2% extra points that will be required in order for the economic growth to be that much higher to get to that economic development that we need in 2047. Now, in order to do that, there are two fundamental requirements that have to be satisfied. Number one, there has to be increased credit for people without any collateral land. Right now, 70% of all money that you can borrow would be based on some land collateral. That has to change. Number two, the women's participation in the labor force needs to increase from 35% to 55%. And that will require a set of policies too.